Chair.
7 o'clock, Your Worship.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. I'll bring this regular council meeting to order, Monday, November the 1st at 7 p.m. and to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of Stahelis. And the next order of business, please.
Yes, Your Worship. We'll move on to number 2, introduction of late items. Do you have any late items this evening?
I have no late items. Move on, please.
Thank you. Then could I have approval of the agenda then, please?
By Councillor Piper, second by Councillor Vidal. Call the question. All in favour? Opposed, anybody? No. Thank you. Move on, please.
Thank you. We'll move on to number 4. We have adoption of council minutes. We have the regular council meeting minutes of October 18, 2021 here for adoption.
We have a move and a seconder. Move by Councillor Palmer, second by Councillor Vidal. Any errors or omissions? Being none, I call the question. All in favour? Opposed, anybody? No. Thank you. Please move on.
Thank you, Your Worship. Is there any business arising from the minutes?
Business from councillors arising from the minutes? Being
Thank you. We'll move right on through 6, 7, 8, and 9 and go to number 10, reports of councillors, committees, committee of the whole, and commissions.
Councillor Hooper.
Good evening all. On the 19th of October, I attended the BCCRN Zoom meeting on your community's future and how to achieve population level change. The speakers on this one was Sherry Baker, head of the BCCRN, and Paul Bourne, founder of the Terramac Institute. On the 27th, 20th and 29th of October, I attended a Zoom meeting with the CNIB on their Wireless Wednesday on new technology called Be My Eyes, See the World Together. 20th of October, also attended a webinar held by the Alzheimer's Society through the BCRN, targeting strategies for denial, paranoia, anxiety, and shadowing. And again, on the 20th, I attended a Zoom meeting with the Terramac Institute on ending working poverty in BC. The speakers were the Honourable Nicholas Simons, the Minister for the Social Service Development and Poverty Reduction, Parliamentary Secretary Paul Walker for the New Economy, Minister for Labour Morgan Carter, and Teresa House, President of the Business Solutions. On the 20th, I attended part of the public hearing for this zoning open house by phone. Unfortunately, connections weren't that good when you were travelling. 25th October, I attended the AGM of the Foundry, where I stood down as a director of the Foundry. And the 29th of October, I attended a Zoom meeting held by the LGBTQ2 on how to break down barriers. All of these were part of Fraser Health. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Palmer.
Thank you. In my areas, 2 Wednesdays ago, I attended the Fraser Valley Regional Library Board meeting. We are working on preliminary budgeting and financial issues. So that was the primary focus of that particular meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Piper.
Thank you, Your Worship. Only one of my committees met since last meeting. So on November 1st, online, I attended the Citizen Advisory Committee meeting with Mountain Institute. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Vidal.
Thank you, Your Worship. On October 20th, I attended virtually the public hearing regarding the development proposal for 511 Lillooet. On October 21st, I attended a virtual Agassiz Harrison Healthy Communities meeting. And also on October 21st, I attended Lower Mainland Local Government Association executive meeting. On October 27th, I attended the virtual public meeting on the parking master plan preliminary findings. And on October 28th, I reviewed a webinar on challenging Islamophobia in local governments, which was presented by the Columbia Institute. And that's my report.
Thank you, Councillor. Next order of business, please.
Yes, Your Worship, we'll move on to number 11, reports from the mayor.
Thank you. Before I get on to my reports, I just want to reflect for a few minutes. Some people may have known this gentleman. Some people may have not been here, but unfortunately, we lost a terrific doctor in both our communities, in Dr. Lachlan McIntosh, and I believe it was on the 9th of October that he passed away. Lachlan was a real Scottish style family doctor, always had time for you, never rushed you. He was the one that initiated the healthy communities in our community, Dr. McIntosh, and initiated the bicycle path when back then he was going to go through the Westerway Society. And myself and Sylvia Pranger were on those committees with him. And also, Lachlan was also, I introduced him to which we used to have back then, the Harrison Rotary Club. So he was a member of he was very involved in the communities in many ways. He served even when he left and moved to, actually, he started at a small office where the Prospera Credit Union is. And then him and a partner, they built the Agassiz Clinic, who eventually was sold to Fraser Health. Lachlan then moved on to Chilliwack, where I followed him, and he was there for a few years. Just a wonderful man. And then unfortunately, he came down with certain disease, and he managed to fight it for many years. And unfortunately, something else got to him, and he passed away. I can't say enough what a generous, kind, and what a wonderful doctor he was. It's a tremendous loss to our communities. Even after he retired, he serviced the seniors' homes in Agassiz as well, and also Stahalis as well. So an overall great doctor, and I reflect on it since he's passed away quite often, thinking of what a wonderful person we've lost in our community. That being said, I'll move on. At the Regional Hospital District Board meeting, there was a presentation from Liz Harris. Those of you who attended was it 219, was it? The ball, was it the ball, what was it, 219? No, Liz was the one who headed that. It's the Fraser Valley Healthcare Foundation, and she was doing a presentation to the regional district. The Chilliwack Hospital is in $500,000 going towards new radiography equipment, $1 million for Abbey for their emergency department, and $12,000 for a new lift at the Fraser Canyon. So she did a small presentation, and they're looking at moving ahead with the foundation. I'm not sure it's going to be live or virtual this year. Last year it was changed to virtual, but keep you posted. At that was the hospital board meeting. At the open meeting, there was a delegation from the Mission Community Cycling Coalition, from Ron Carew and Glenn Robertson, who did a presentation regarding trying to link up the greenway on the Dewdney and Nickerman Island dikes and extending the trail eastward. So they were there for looking for some support from the regional district for planning. Also, if you're interested, the new councillor that was elected by a by-election at Abbotsford is Dave Sidhu, and that election was caused by the resignation of the former mayor of Abbotsford. So that's that bit of news. Also from the presentation, the Metro Vancouver Regional Growth Strategy was up for discussion, and Metro Vancouver and FVRD are experiencing significant population growth. An additional 1.4 million people are expected to be living in the Lower Mainland by 2050 compared to 2016 levels. So you can just see how things have escalated. The regions have similar challenges such as addressing climate change, housing, affordability, and opportunities such as building new relationships with Indigenous people. Some of the goals: create a compact urban area, support a sustainable economy, provide diverse and affordable housing choices, support sustainable transportation choices, and it's been referenced to the FRD because we're going through our own strategy as well, and the two are trying to work together to address the ongoing situation with the growth in population. So that was all from the regional district. Stephanie Gallimore from the Tourism Harrison is seeking volunteers to help out. Lights by the Lake are going forward this year. There'll be no official opening, of course, but she's seeking for volunteers to do some setup work, and that's Monday, November the 17th and Wednesday, November the 17th. So if you wish to help out, please contact Stephanie at Tourism Harrison. And the displays will be on from November the 20th to January the 10th. And there's a report coming in later about the skating rink, so I won't get into that. So to view how and where we are looking for help, open the scheduling document below. So there's a link to open up. So get onto their website if you wish to volunteer. And also, I wrote something on the back of something, I can't find it. What was it? It was to do. I'll get on to the Legion first. I received the first Legion poppy on October the 27th from the Legion. We came here in the Memorial Hall and they did the presentation of the poppy that I'm wearing. Thank them very much. There'll be no formal gathering at the school or parades this year. There'll just be the laying of the wreaths at the cenotaph, which will probably be already laid by the Legion, and the mayors and small group will be there to recognize that. The other, if it comes to me, I'll report it later, but I've lost my notes on one other item that had to do with Tourism Harrison. That'll come to me later. That being said, next order of business, please.
Thank you, Worship. We'll move on to number 12, reports from staff. The first report is regarding the 2022 regular council meeting schedule. Subject to Section 127(1) of the Community Charter, Council must prepare a schedule of the dates and times, places of regular council meetings for the next year. As the village office will be closed from December 26th through to December 30th, 21, and the village doesn't reopen until January 4th, 2022, it is recommended that the first council meeting be held January 17th, 2022. As you see, attached is the proposed schedule for council's consideration. And the recommendation this evening is that the proposed regular council meeting schedule for 2022 be approved.
We have a move and a seconder, moved by Councillor Vidal, seconded by Councillor Palmer. Discussion. Anybody have any comments on the schedule? None being, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Nobody opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next order of business.
Thank you, Your Worship. The next report is regarding the appointment of the Fraser Valley Regional Library Board representative and the alternate for 2022. As you may know, pursuant to Section 17(2) of the Library Act, the local government may appoint a representative from council to be a member on the library board. A new appointment is required each November at the first meeting of council, and that member will hold office for a term of 1 year. The first Fraser Valley Regional Library Board meeting is scheduled for January 19th, 2022. Before I go into the recommendation, Your Worship, as further to our discussion today, I have been advised that Councillor Hooper wishes to decline the role, and you had advised me that Councillor Piper has accepted the role as alternate municipal director. So the recommendation this evening is that council appoint Councillor Jerry Palmer to fulfill the role as municipal director for the Fraser Valley Regional Library Board for 2022, and that council appoint Councillor Samantha Piper to fill the role as alternate municipal director for the Fraser Valley Regional Library Board for 2022.
Moved by Councillor Vidal, second by Councillor Hooper, yes. Hooper, any comments on that at all? Questions? No? Call the question, all in favour? Opposed, anybody? No, thank you. Motion passes. Next order of business, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. And the last report is from our planning consultant, and this is regarding a request for an amendment to development permit DP 05/18 for 120 Esplanade Avenue.
Mr. Cossey.
Thank you, Your Worship. In 2018, Council issued a development permit to the applicant for the development located at 120 Esplanade Avenue. Currently, construction of the building is underway. The permit is in the C1 area under the current zoning bylaw, and the current use is a permitted use. On October 18, 2021, the developer's new architect, Adler Pacific Architect Incorporated, formally requested to amend DP 05/18. The request is to amend the color scheme that was approved when the development permit was first issued. Basically, the summary of the change to the color scheme, the existing colors submitted were chosen 15 plus years ago. The colors chosen will still blend with the natural landscape. There will be no color changes to any exterior materials. In the proposed new color scheme, both the exterior windows and the exterior balcony rails will be black instead of black windows and brown railings, and they now require a charcoal gray roof as proposed to a green metal roof, as opposed to a green metal roof. They don't want to be like the Lake Resort. That was in the letter. The color scheme is shown on page 17 of your agenda package, the proposed and the approved. Section 6 of the current development permit is the section of the permit that will need to be amended as per the current following requirement. In section 6 of the current development permit, the wording is the colors must be in accordance with sheet A 1.3 of F ADAB Architects Incorporated drawings, date stamped April 2018. If there is any deviation from the use of these colors, the village's approval is required. If council opts to approve the colors today, there will be no other amendment to the development permit. The full DP is on page 14 and 16, and the letter outline for the changes is on page 17 of your agenda package, or the last page. And I draw your attention to section 3C. This original development permit is issued only to allow for the mixed development of a mixed-use development and is hereby amended to include the following new color scheme. The original 6C of DP 05/18 in its entirety is deleted and replaced with the following. The colors must be in accordance with sheet showing the approved and the proposed color schemes, date stamped September 24, 2021, as prepared by Adler Pacific Architect Incorporated. If there's any deviation from the use of these colors, the village approval is required. And with that, your worship, staff recommendation is that council approve the request to amend DP 05/18 issued to Goldwall Developments Incorporated, incorporation number 0986866 for land legally described as Lot B, Section 13, Township 4, Range 29, west of the 6th Mervyn, New Westminster District Plan, BCP 27775.
Thank you, Mr. Cossey. Do we have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Piper, second by Councillor Vital. Discussion, anybody have anything to bring? Councillor Vital and Councillor Hooper.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Mr. Cossey, just for clarification, please, on page 12, under the amendment request, number 5, they now require charcoal gray roof as proposed to a green metal roof. Will the gray roof be metal or will it be of a different material? Thank you.
Mr. Cossey?
It'll be this, thank you. It'll be the same materials, Your Worship. The only thing that is changing is the color scheme.
Thank you, Mr. Cossey.
Councillor Hooper?
Yes, on the changing of the colour scheme, have we been supplied swatches on what the colours look like and what they're going to be? Because as you're probably aware that there can be up to 80 different shades of black and don't know how many different shades of brown. And I would hate to actually approve something without actually seeing what it looks like. Thank you.
Mr. Cossey, do you have any comments on that?
The only thing that we've been provided with, Your Worship, is the sheet that's outlined on page 17, and it has to be exactly like that, or else they've violated their development permit.
Again, I hate to say this, but we don't know what the color is, do we? We don't know what shade of black or shade of brown or anything, and we're being asked to approve it. I'd like to see the architect supply us with a swatch and the actual paint number for this before we actually vote on it. Otherwise, we don't know what we're going to be agreeing to. Thank you.
Councillor Palmer?
Your Worship, just a question, just more for my own understanding. So when I look at the development permit, where of course it sets out that the requiring the exact building materials, the colors, and the site plan layout. Actually, my question was about the site plan layout. So the site plan layout that's approved precisely, does that include even like the location of external doors and things of that nature?
Not to that level, no. When we're talking about the site layout, we're talking about the way it's going to be landscaped and the location of the structure.
Okay. The only reason I asked that is that when I looked carefully at page 17, and I looked at the colors, and to be honest, I'm partly colorblind, so the colors, but I just noticed that the doors were in different locations on the proposed from what the approved was. So I wasn't sure if that was something that that our site layout requirements were that precise, if that was an issue or not. Other than that, I don't think I have a problem with the roof color and the black. Thank you.
Councillor, any comments? Can I pipe? No? Anybody else? No? So I'll call the question on the recommendation. All in favour? Opposed? Opposed, Councillor Hooper. Motion passes. Order of business, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. We don't have any bylaws on number 13, so we'll move on to number 14, new business.
Have no new business. Next order of business, please.
Thank you. We'll move on to number 15, questions from the public pertaining to agenda items only.
Questions from the public pertain to the agenda only.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. John Allen, 398 Hot Springs Road. I share Councillor Hooper's concerns about the colours. I'm reminded of the title of a famous book and movie, 50 Shades of Grey. There are a lot more shades of gray. And I just find it difficult to understand why the architect who is requesting this color change didn't specify a color. And as Councillor Hooper has said, every color is assigned a number, and Pantone is one of the more common color schemes. And I just wonder why Council is considering this change in colors without the specific color being identified. I'm also a little concerned about the aesthetics. There's no change apparently in the color of the walls of the building, but the railings, instead of being natural earth tones, which are called for within the design guidelines for that particular area, are changing instead to black. And I think that conflicts with your own design guidelines as contained in the OCP. There's quite an extensive section in the OCP dealing with color schemes. And the predominant theme of that is that we're looking for earth tones here. We're looking for natural colors, the browns and the greens and the light blues, none of the vivid colors, and none of the strong blacks or whites. So I'm just asking why Council is approving a change in the color scheme. And these details, like there are a lot of railings in this building and a lot of window frames, these details are what often define the building. But I guess my question is, why is Council approving a new color scheme when it's in conflict with your own official community plan and your own design guidelines? That would normally require something like a variance, not just a change in a development permit. But I don't see any variance having been applied for here. And you have used the variances to vary the density and the height in other buildings along the esplanade. But yet this one, with a fairly radical change in the detailed color of the building, is going through with a simple council resolution. And that's my question. Why are we not conforming to our OCP and design guidelines? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Council has made their wishes known and they've passed it. Thank you very much. Any other questions from the public? None being, I call a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Palmer, seconded by Councillor Piper. All in favor? Nobody opposed? Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming out this evening.